What's up guys, so in this video I'm going to walk you through how I built the image upload system for my e-commerce website templates that I'm working on using Convex and Cloudflare R2. So in case if you don't know what R2 is, it's basically a Cloudflare object storage service. So you can think of it like an S3 bucket but without the egress fees, so you're not being charged for saving your files to the client. And with the Convex R2 component, which we'll be talking about in a minute, plugging it into your application is really straightforward. So I'll just quickly add a product so I can show you. There's a lot of feeds, so I'm just going to populate it with random stuff. Okay, so let me just add the size, material, and leave all this out. Then for the status, to make it active. For category, we just choose one category. Let me just upload any image. So I'll pick this one. And for this, I'll just pick like the maximum is 8 images that you can add. So I'll just pick everything right here. So let me choose that again. All right, so open, everything should be populated right here. And they have this tag of new. So if I click on create products now, so you can see that the product has been created and you can see the product right here. So you can choose to also like edit it or view it. So if I view it on my client side, this is how it's going to look. And so this is how it looks right now. And like I said, you can also edit it if you choose to. Everything is still going to show here. All right, so before we touch the code, I just want to give you a quick mental model on how this all works, this whole image upload system works. So basically, there are just 3 layers to it. The first one is the Convex backend, and basically this is where we set up the R2 client, handle auth checks before upload, and generate a signed URL so that the files can be served to the client. And the second one is the UI component. I have 2 of them. I'm going to show you in a minute. A single image uploader and a multi-image uploader. So the single is for this one and the multi-image uploader is for this one. And these basically handles previews, file selection, and removing of the images. And the last one is the product form. So product form is where everything actually comes together, which is the entire form itself. So it manages the state, decide when to upload image, and basically save the keys to the database. And also one thing you should understand is that the files, according to my own flow now, the files are not uploaded the moment a user picks them. They are basically held in a state and they are only uploaded when I click on create product. And I think this is called deferred uploading or something like that, and it's basically intentional. I did the first time I tried it, I don't just want to upload the image and upload the product. People like doing it, but I just want to upload everything at once. This is subjective though, so just keep that in mind. So if we go back to my code now, I go to my r2.ts file. So basically I have an R2 instance right here. And also, if this is your first time using it, let me just show you all the steps you should follow. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure you have a project up and running and you're using Convex as your database. And Convex also has a storage system as well, or a file storage where you can upload files. So mine is currently empty. I don't like using it anymore because the egress fee is not free. I think they give you about 1.5 gig or so, and by the time you're saving the files, you hit that limit pretty quickly. So this is just a way around it, and this is also fairly simple to install to your application. So after installing this, the next thing you need to do is to create a Cloudflare account, create an R2 bucket. I already have this up and running, and in order for you to create a bucket, if it's your first time, you'll be asked to enter your credit card details, and you don't have to worry because, like I said, they give free request fee. And for the different operations right here, before you hit the limit, oh yeah, before you hit the limit, it takes a long time because I think they are, I can't access this from here. Since they changed their UI, I can't really access some stuff right off the bat. But the fact is, you might not hit the limit anytime soon. So just keep that in mind. So you can feel free to add your card details. So after doing that, you just follow the step right here. So set a bucket name as an environment variable in your Convex deployment. So basically this come to your environment variables right here and basically create it right here, the R2 bucket, and store it. You can do this directly from your CLI. I think they showed the way here. So you can do it from here as well, but you can still do it from the UI. Then after doing that, you can add a course policy. So right here, I created mine. This is the one I created. So you just to create a bucket. Then if I open the bucket, you just go to settings and go to course policy. And this is where you add the origins you want to allow. So currently I might blur out the name of the application because I don't want you guys to see it right now. Yeah, so I might blur out the whole page for this part. But basically you're just adding the origins and the methods and the headers. That's what they give us right here. I also leave a link to this little documentation right here so that you go through it. Then you have to now create an API token. So you can do that from here as well. So if you go back to the object storage, this is where you are going to create this manage tab right here. Then after doing that, let me come back right here. Basically everything, if you follow the step, is pretty much simple and very easy to follow. So you just need to create all these variables on your Convex backend or your Convex dashboard. Just create all these variables there, and basically when you're done, what you just have to do is to create a convex.config.ts file and just basically initialize the R2 component. So if I go to convex .config.ts, you can see I'm using Stripe components, I'm using recent components. You can let me know if you want videos on both of them, but you can just add it right here. Then the next thing to do is to set this all up, which you might have already done following this step right here. So after doing that, this is when you're using multiple buckets, but I think this is where I can now come to my own code. So I created a file called r2.ts, and basically, like I said, I just initialized the r2 component and I exported two functions or methods. So the first one is the generate upload URL. And how this works is that when the front end wants to upload a file, so when we want to upload the file on our front end, it does not send the file through your Convex server because it's going to be slow and sometimes it's still going to be expensive. So basically it asks Cloudflare directly for a signed URL, and it's more like a temporary permission slip to allow you upload a file. That's what this generate upload mutation now, it's called a mutation. That's what it does. So it requests that signed URL from R2. And for the sync metadata, once the file has been uploaded directly to R2 using this generate upload URL, Convex does not automatically know about it. So this sync metadata mutation is called after the upload to tell Convex that, okay, hey, this file now exists. Here's its key, the size and type, and it just basically syncs that metadata to our Convex database. So I think I should just show you that right now. So if I go back to my data, you will notice I will have an app. You're not seeing anything related to R2 yet, but if I click on this, you'll see the R2 stuff right here. So the key, the link and size and what have you. So it basically syncs it to our Convex database. So basically the data model is generic here. As you can see, we have this type safety, so that the context object inside our callback is properly typed against our actual database schema. That's why you're seeing all these should I call them autocomplete right here? And if you don't add these TypeScript is just going to give you a generic document type. Now inside this client API, we have two callbacks. The first one is the check upload and the second one is the on upload. So basically the check upload, what it does is it runs before a signed URL is ever issued. So basically this is the authentication part we talked about earlier ago. So it checks if that person is authenticated. So if the person is authenticated, it's just going to stop this right here. But if the person is authenticated, it's just going to run after the sync meta data is called. So right now I'm just logging out the key, but this is where you do things like associating the files with a specific user. So if you are working on an application where the upload is specific, so maybe like an event management platform where users upload individual images for their own event, so you can associate it with a specific user on your database if you want to do that. So for my own case, I handle that association in the product form itself. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And the last thing here is just this get file URL. And basically this is a Convex action that takes the key and returns a signed in URL for viewing that file. And it also comes with an expire parameter as well. So mine expires in 24 hours, but you can set it to whatever you want. And basically what this just does is that it gives you control over who can access your files and for how long. And for a product image on an e-commerce site, I think this duration is perfectly okay. So now that we know how the file is being generated and served, we need to now be able to turn this R2 key into an actual URL before sending it to our clients, because initially when I did it, it worked, but let me cancel this out. The image was broken because it was returning just the R2 key instead of turning it into an actual URL. So in order to do that, I created a function in my utils file called, I know this utils, so sorry, utils in Convex. So it's called resolve image and resolve images. So remember, we are working with a main image and thumbnail images. So the resolve image basically takes a key, which is the key that we get when we upload the image. And I'm just checking that, okay, if the key starts with HTTP, it just passes it through. And this is like a safety net for any legacy data or edge cases. And one reason why I added it was because for when I was testing it out, and I think it's still here, I used, let me go back to my app. I used images from Cloudflare. So I added it directly from Cloudflare. That was why. So just keep that in mind. But if you're doing it from scratch, I don't think you need to check for if it starts with HTTP and stuff like that, because it's just going to work since you don't have any. You can let me know in the comment if I'm wrong about that. Then also, we're doing the same thing for the resolve images, but we're just using promise.all so that all the URLs are generated in parallel rather than one by one. So for the image upload part, this file is quite long, so I'm just going to talk about the important parts. So basically in this file right here, I'm just storing it's broken into two. So we have the image upload and we also have the multi-image upload. So for both states, you know what I'll just do, let me leave it at the edit tab. And for some reason, I have to fix this. This is showing main. This is the main one. Don't know why I set main here. I'll look into this later on. But basically, what this image upload does is that it keeps the images that we upload in a state. Remember that when we upload it, the image is not, when we select the images, they are not being uploaded. They are being kept in a state till we enter all the necessary input fields before we like create the product. Then that's when the image will be uploaded. So this is what is responsible for that. So basically, we are just storing the images in a state, and I'm also doing some checks. So basically, for the image upload, we have a use effect right here, and basically the use effect in this context is purely for memory management. So object URLs stored in the browser memory don't get cleaned up automatically. So when the component on mounts, we call these url.revoke object URL to free that memory, so that when we upload a new one, it's just like a fresh upload, and vice versa. And we're just doing some check to check if the image is actually an image and the image is lesser than 10 MB. I'm also passing some function to remove the image and to drop it and what have you. So the last part is the product form. So basically the product form is where everything comes together. And the two important things here are the get file URL, remember, which is the get file URL from here, and the upload file, rather the use upload file. So basically it's on the documentation as well. Like I said, I'm going to leave this in the description. But basically the use upload file from the arrow2 React library, like I said, it's here. Let me just quickly look for it and show you. And so this is it here, but they just use a dummy example right here. So basically what the hook does is that it handles the actual upload flow using our generated upload URL. So using the generated upload URL and the sync metadata mutation. And also this get file URL, which is our action for generating the signed URLs. And also I created 4 states. So the first state for the image is the main image, then the main image file. So basically the main image file holds a new file if the user picks a new one. So same pattern for these as well, just that the images are now multiple, not just one. So if I go to the actual functions to submit the entire data, so handle submit. So basically in this submit handler, and this is where I talked about the deferred uploading. So basically if a user pick a new image, we call the upload file with that file that the user selects. So it then handles the signed URL, the actual put. So I'm talking about the put request, the put the actual puts to arrow2, and the metadata sync, which then returns a key. So for the gallery files, still the same thing, but we'll add promises so that it does all the uploads in parallel. So basically that is that. Then we just essentially add the resolve main image, which is this right here. So pass it right here and do the same to the resolve images as well. Like I said, using promise.all so that it uploads them in parallel. So guys, so basically that's the flow on how I added the image upload, and I can also delete the product as well. So if I click on delete now, it's going to say yeah, delete, so it's gone. But mind you that anything you delete, so let me go to my flexing mouse pocket. So anything you delete will still be here, so keep that in mind. So that's the size of the video, guys. Hope you were able to learn 1 or 2 things from what I'm saying. And if you want like a breakdown video where I actually show you like a step-by-step process on a product or another different product I'm working on how I implement image upload, you can let me know in the comments. And if you found the video helpful, do well to like, share and subscribe. And this video showing right now will be of help to you as well. See you on the next one.